Hello there, Ellis here with my first episode of a new series. This series is going to be the first of a number of series of C++ game development. This first one is going to look specifically at just starting up with the basics of C++, and then we'll move on to more advanced things like multiplayer and OpenGL graphics and all that. And finally putting it together into making a game. By the end of these series, you should be able to feel proficient enough in C++ to take on any task, whether it be a game or some other piece of software that you want to make. But yeah, that's the goal of this, and we may as well get started. So like I said, this first episode is just going to be setting up and testing everything works. So the three things we're going to need to get are Java, Eclipse, and Cygwin. If you've got those installed, you can skip this section completely, otherwise stay tuned. Right, the first thing we're going to install is Java, and we can get that from java.com/download, if I can spell, java.com/download. We're just going to download that here. Now I've already got it, but if you haven't, you just click this and it will download the file and install it. It's I don't know, 100 and something meg, so just leave that to do its thing, and then run it when it's finished. The next file you need to get is Eclipse, and you can get that from eclipse.org. Just hit the big download button top right, pick your operating system from the list, scroll down a little bit, and go for the C and C++ Developer Edition. Don't go for the first one, just make sure you pick the C and C++ Developer Edition. Make sure that you're sticking the same type of OS. If you're going 64-bit, stick with it with all three of these installations, as well as Java and this and Cygwin. But if you're going 32-bit, make sure you're consistent. Again, don't mix and match, it won't work. I've tried it before, it's very frustrating. Just make sure you have the same for all of them. And then just click this button here and it will start downloading that. I've already got it, so I'm not going to do that. And the third thing you're going to need to get is Cygwin. And I'll explain what these all do in just a minute. Just going to show you where to get them. Just go to cygwin.com and there's this install Cygwin. And make sure you go for the 64 or 32-bit, whichever one you're going for. Just click that and it will download. Now once you've got these three files, like I've got them here, remove that one. Like you've got them here, you're just going to click them in this order to install. First with Java, I've already got it, so I'm not going to click it, but just install Java. Then you're going to open up your Eclipse. Eclipse doesn't have an installer, it's literally just you take this file and you put it wherever you want to install it. I'm putting mine right here in my B drive. I'm just going to paste it there. And just let that paste, it's a little bit big, so we'll just leave that to run in the background. And finally, Cygwin, you run by just clicking executable. I haven't installed this one because there are some settings that you're going to need to tick in the installer, which I'm going to go through now. So once you open up the setup for Cygwin, it will look like this. Just click the next button, and next again, and next one more time. Keep going, keep going. You can change those if you need to, but you shouldn't really. Just pick a mirror. It doesn't matter too much what you select, but if you see your country, it will be a little bit faster to download straight from there. So I see UK, so I'm going to go for that, and just let those install. Now when you get to this package screen, don't press next straight away. There are a few things you need to tick in the developer section. So if you go to Devel, expand that, and we're going to scroll down a little bit until you find GCC, which is down here. We're going to install the core, so just click on the skip button here and it will change to the version, and you'll see this first box is ticked. You don't need the second box, just the first one. You can do the same for GCC, G++, and also for GDB, and lastly make, and that'll be a little further down, just here. So you should have those four: make, GCC core, GCC C++, G++, and GDB. Those four are the ones you need. Then you just hit next. It's going to confirm everything. Just press next again and let that install. And then when it's done, you should be good to go and we can test Eclipse. Okay, so once Cygwin has finished installing, you can just untick these two boxes. Really doesn't matter. And then just hit finish, and that will close it up. Before you open up Eclipse, there is one more thing we need to do, and that is add Cygwin to our path. And the way you did that, in case you missed that, you right click your computer in Start menu and go to Properties, and that will open this here. And then click Advanced, change to the Advanced tab, and just press Environment Variables down here. Now in this second list of system variables, you can look for path and edit that. And on the end of there, we're going to need to add one more folder. And you'll find that folder in C, and it will either be called Cygwin or Cygwin64 if you went for the 64-bit edition. Just go straight into there and into bin, and you're going to copy this path. Just copy that, and back in the system variables, you're going to put a semicolon and then paste. So you should have that on the end of whatever was in your path before. Don't delete what wasn't in there before, just add it on to the end, and just hit OK. And then OK again, and one more time. Now that's added it to the path, and we should be able to get to any of these from anywhere, which is what we're going to need for Eclipse. Now we are ready to open up Eclipse. And to do that, we're just going to go to wherever you installed your Eclipse, wherever you copied and pasted it earlier, and just double click on the application in there. They should just, well, there's two, but just go for the Eclipse application and run that. First time it will take a little bit to load, and you'll be asked where you want to put your workspace. Now this is where all of your projects go and all of your code goes. So pick wisely. You can change it in the future, and I recommend you do change it in the future if you're working on multiple projects. But for now, we're just going to put it, I'm going to put mine straight onto the B drive, because B drive is nice and clean, and I'm actually going to make a new folder in there and call it workspace. There we go, and use that. And I'm just going to use it as default, because you can change it later on, but for now that will do. And then you just let Eclipse load up. Once Eclipse has fully loaded, you're just going to close this welcome screen straight away, because we don't need it. And you'll be met with all these dialogues, and it looks quite confusing, but don't worry. We can close a few of them straight away. We can close this, 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 and properties. Just make sure you've got Project Explorer, Problems, Task, and Console. Those are the main four you're going to need, and this big empty space in the middle. Now we're going to try and make our Hello World application, just to test that our compiler is working properly. That was Cygwin that we installed earlier. We do that by going to File, New, C++ Project. And there's already a Hello World in here, so we're just going to go straight for that and give it a name, Hello World. Now, note here that I'm not putting a space in the project name, because we can have problems with that later on if you're not careful. So I'd recommend just not putting any spaces in project names or in file names in general. And also notice that my location doesn't have any spaces either, because we could have problems with that later if we're not careful. And we're just going to go straight for the Cygwin GCC, because that's what we installed, and we're going to go next, next, and finish. Now that's going to make our project, and you'll see it appears here on the left, and when we expand that, we see we've got the source folder and our hello world.cpp, and that's opened up right in the middle here. You may not understand what this code means right away, don't worry about it. We'll go over it next episode, but for now, so long as it does appear and it does look like this, then that is fine. You may have noticed a little bit earlier that as soon as this opened, we had some red squiggly lines and we had some errors pop up. If everything's installed correctly, they should go very quickly. It should just pop up for a few seconds and then clean itself up, and the problem should go away. And then we're ready to build. Whenever you first make a project, you need to build it before you can run it. Once you've built it once, it should build automatically, but the very first time you just need to click this hammer here and it will build our project. Now if there are no problems, and you can go into console and you should see it's finished building and there aren't any errors, that means we're all good and it's made our program, and we can run it by clicking this run button here. And now every time we want to test, we can just hit the run button and it will run down at the bottom here. And if everything's installed correctly, and you follow this tutorial well, you should see a hello world printed at the bottom. That means everything's working and we can move on to learning C++ properly. And if you're feeling adventurous and you don't want to watch the next episode just yet, you can mess around with this and change the text if you like. Should be pretty self-explanatory. You can just change it to hi there from Ellis. Wow, I put capitals in everything apart from my name. Hi there from Ellis. And then you just click the run button and yes, we'll recompile and it will write it out. And that means that everything is working and we're ready to start properly learning the code. Now you notice we actually made an executable in this, and you can find that executable in your workspace. So if you want to give this to a friend, have them run the program you made, you just go into your workspace, into whatever the project you called it. Mine's Hello World. We're running in debug mode, so it's going to be in the debug folder, and you see it's right there, Hello World. Now if you run it straight like this, it's going to disappear very quickly. You might just be able to catch a glimpse that it is actually printing, but we can, actually I won't show you that just yet, we can run it from command prompt and it will stay on the screen. So to open command prompt, you type in CMD in the top there, hit enter, and you get this retro hackers command prompt console here. If you haven't seen it before, we're just going to type in hello world, and it's that file we have there. You don't even need the .exe, just hello world, because that's what we've got in here. And when we run it, it says, hi there from Ellis. Now that means that our program's running, we can give that to a friend, and they should be able to run it too. And we're ready to move on to more advanced things, which is what we're going to be doing next time. But thank you very much for watching this episode. It's about 10-15 minutes, I'm not sure exactly. But this is how long a typical episode is going to be, and it's going to be split up as this one is along the bottom here, so you can just skip through to wherever you want to get in the episode very quickly, and learn exactly what you want to learn, and recap on previous things. If you forgot something, you can jump back very easily. But yeah, next time we're going to go over what this code means, and edit it a little bit more, show you what variables are and how to print variables and how to ask people for input and actually start learning C++, which should be very good. But like I said, thank you very much for watching, and you'll see me in the next episode.